turn. Yeah, check to make
Sounds
sure.
like something might be stuck or sneezed.
Something's not right.
Hey, how's it going? Hey, did you get those photos, Sarah? Yeah, she emailed you. I think there's 2 or 3 that she has to do. Yeah, like 2 times. It was nice. I got to talk to some Tom Dodge. And is that his partner? Yeah, they're really sweet. I remember. So I keep bumping into him at the YMCA. So yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
no, but I saw them at the Provisions bringing in their stuff.
feel free to grab chair or make some
Talk to you later.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but welcome to the second to the last event of the Great Lakes Poetry Festival. It's been a great week of poetry and poets and poems and writing and movies. Just really have had a wonderful, wonderful time. And all leading up to this event, the reading from of the winners for the 3-day chapbook contest that we ran in Labor Day. And if you think after listening to this and listening to the readers and looking at these books that, wow, I should have done that, you have another chance. Because we will be doing another 3-day international chapbook contest, and that will be again over Labor Day. And our judge is going to be Diane Glancy, who was the headline poet for this year's Great Lakes Poetry Festival. But of course, our wonderful, wonderful judge last time was Diane Seuss, Pulitzer Prize winner for Frank Sonnets, which was very, very exciting. And as you can tell, Sam is here, Erica is here, and Kathleen is in the back of the room. So we are set to go. I will just want to thank a couple groups and people and individuals. I have to thank the Friends of Peter White Public Library. If you're watching on live stream, you can thank them. And they also provided funds for the Great Lake Poetry Festival. Have to thank the Library of Michigan, who provided sponsorship funds for the festival, Northern Michigan University, who provided sponsorship funds, and I'll go through the venues again: Provisions Marquette, Superior Culture, and tomorrow night at the Rippling River Resort, we're going to be doing a closing reading, music, and relaxing kind of thing. So it should be a lot of fun. And also like to thank a whole bunch of people. My partner in crime, Ronnie Ferguson, who is so instrumental in a lot of the things, and most specifically the 3-day chapbook contest. He's a wonderful, wonderful friend and collaborator. I also want to thank the judges for the Great Lakes Teen Poetry Contest, and that was UP Poet Laureate Beverly Mathern, poet Lisa Fosmo, and poet B.G. Bradley. So they were all instrumental. As I have said many times during this week, it takes a village to put on a poetry festival, and I have a village behind me, thank goodness. So without further ado, we are going to kick this off. I'm actually going to sit back and just watch, and I'm not hosting today. I'm going to let Ronnie do the hosting privileges. I'm just which is even more frightening, the tech person today. So hopefully everything is going to go well and we won't have to worry about anything. I know the live stream is working, so that's a one-off on what I did right today. So anyway, without further ado, please welcome to the stage Ronnie Ferguson.
Welcome, Sam and Erica. So glad you're able to join us. Really excited to have everybody here for this contest. We call it a three-day chapbook contest. These books, we don't even call them chapbooks, they're books. Written in 3 days. Let's give everybody a it's an excuse for us to be able to support 3 new manuscripts, 3 new voices, to get them out so people can share them. And boy, do we got some wonderful books this year, the 3. I hope you all will get copies of them before you leave today. Just fantastic, and you're going to find out with these readings. Real quick, I would just like to say, again, thank you so much, Marty, for all your work on this, and to all the people that have been a part of this contest. One of the things that really inspired this contest is thinking about how we write and how we share in a new way. And in short, I think what we are trying to do is take a little inspiration from jazz. Beverly might know what I'm talking about when I say this, but from jazz. And what I mean by that is, if anyone knows jazz music or enjoys jazz music, it's a music that's evolving in real time. Players are making decisions in real time. And so in some sense, what we are trying to do with this contest is to get closer to jazz, where these folks that wrote these beautiful books wrote them in 3 days. It happened really quick in the moment. They didn't have the time to sit back, put it on the shelf for a couple months or a couple of years, and then go back and revise. It had to happen quick. And sometimes as writers, that can be a really good thing when we don't overthink something, when we kind of trust our instincts. And as you'll see with these 3, what instincts? Beautiful. So let me start by showing you this book. One of our winners right here, Kathleen Heidemann, A Brief Report on the Human Animal. If you can see the book, and I'm showing it for our friends on Zoom here as well. But what a beautiful cover made by Kathleen. Let me read you the blurb written for Kathleen by one of our first round judges. Kathleen Heidemann's A Brief Report on the Human Animal is both love poem and execution order. A confabulation of a creature that's lovely in her bones, and also a voracious hunter, which stalks and kills and caches its prey. From in the beginning to our current epoch of global weirding, each page pulses, bleeds with both affection and shame for all that humanity has wrought and wrecked in the geologic seconds of its existence. Heidemann's poems aren't simply artful meditations on who we were, are, will be. They're word mirrors, reflecting the unreliable, delightful mishmash of human and animal through the ash heap of history. There's nothing brief about this book. A brief report on the human animal will remain etched like petroglyphs on the cave walls of your heart. Let's welcome Kathleen Heidemann.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Ronnie, and thank you, Peter White Public Library, for sponsoring the contest. I was just going to say I entered it because of the judge. Diane seems wow, what an opportunity to have your work considered by someone of that caliber. And then I don't know if I didn't read the description of the contest properly. Or too quickly, I missed a few details. It was going to be on the Labor Day weekend, which I had invited like a whole bunch of my friends and my mom and my husband up to a cabin in the middle of nowhere, and that's where I was going to be. And so I was like, I have no time to do this. I'm gonna have to not participate. And so I think it truly is, Marty and I were talking, it's like a fever dream looking back that it happened. But thank you everyone who helped make it happen. A brief report on the human animal. I'll start with one of the epigraphs. We're in a dark time. We can feel it. We cannot meet in the house we used to share. The human animal consults Ancestry.com. The human animal consults Ancestry.com, and what it learns astounds. Everyone descends from pure lineage, from royalty, or pilgrims on the Mayflower, very pure lineages. Everyone descends from royalty or pilgrims on the Mayflower, very pure lineages, unless you count the ones abducted from their villages, carried off in irons in the holds of ships, or in situ, Anishinaabe, Medewin, Chinese immigrants building railroad grades through mountain passes, wandering Peruvian silversmiths, wetback tinkers trailing wagon trains and speaking Yiddish to Norwegian homesteaders, Hebrew scribes who spread their love of Indian curry while steering Viking ships to Newfoundland, and so forth. The human animal is an unreliable, delightful mishmash, says one thing and means another, a risky concatenation of DNA and prejudicial systems with integrated mitochondria. At least you can hear them coming from a mile away, singing hymns in 7,100 languages, honking horns, ringing holy bells, and begging for water, subwoofers thumping from golf carts, and the chains of their hungry logging trucks clang banging as they race each other north in search of trees. So, I'm actually a very upbeat person most of the time. The human animal brings out the worst in me. I'm just going to read a couple of little pieces from the title poem, Brief Report on the Human Animal. After the human animal appointed me as its unpaid amanuensis muse stenographer, I looked it up from the Latin, meaning manus, the hand, and ensis, of, from, a place. And then I hollered for help. I hollered, help me! Beside me stands a human animal, dictating, menacing, demanding I pen a false confession, jangling keys which may or may not open my cell door. I write hostage notes, false memoirs, footnotes crediting imaginary sources, quotations from people who never lived. The human animal is a shaman, a damn fabulist, a storyteller. Abridged creation story. In the beginning, or once upon a time, that is, in most creation stories, the human animal screws up so bigly, our creator must return to wipe the slate with a wet rag, a great flood, or a Krakatoa, or more than once a flaming, wildly off-course meteor. She'll erase racial slur graffiti and stegosauruses, clean the home place, haul away junkyards full of cars, twisted beams, or wait an epoch and update the building's wiring, ponder flipping it. If signs of life persist, she might scour the wound once more with wildfire or an extra age of ice. And yet, and still, and nevertheless, what will become the human animal, being furtive, evades the reset as a squirrel-sized mammal burrowed safely underground at the moment of calamity. Lucky bastard. Did you hear that? Saber-toothed tiger, cave bear, cougar, coy wolf. It's sounded like it came from right in there. Deep in limestone hallways or scratched in wind-worn canyon walls and on the blank ledgers of bluffs, the human animal mixed bone-black soot, red ochre, bear tallow, sturgeon oil, blood, depicting themselves and all the other creatures and ritual symbols, constellations, handprints, fish hooks, showing how and when the human-animal family evolved and what it hunted. It's fair to say life persists on Earth in spite of it. The end. Is it true what they say about the human animal? I get it. I do. Some days it seems the human animal is a disaster declaration waiting to happen, and maybe it's without redemption. Yet, in my experience, their handsome individual failings are alluring. Their cries and lamentations charm. You want to fix them like a wonky wooden chair that needs a bit of glue and clamping. You could hardly know a human animal could fall for them after 3 hours, say in a VFW hall, in a sleet storm, or on the edge of Lake Superior. And obviously they'll let you down later, or steal your first camera and start a fight during a romantic dinner and break your heart. Yes, all of it is in their nature. They are narrow fellows all. Only a few can be housebroken as they swing wildly between despair and joie de vivre. And of course, to partner with any human animal is taking shelter from a funnel cloud in a house trailer, a windstorm ending in exodus and dispossession, wandering prairies of Pink Panther insulation in search of sodden photo albums or Barbie dolls like pneumatic nails, driven pointy end first into telephone poles. Yet, without question, there are human animals inventing carbon capture technologies, rehearsing new symphonies, sifting atomic tidbits, serving trays of icy bubble tea and biscuits, and even at this moment writing poetry. Sure, we're idling and spreading light pollution and landscape scale debris fields gyre the seas, yet I do believe it wants, strike that out, it must strike that out. The human animal may yet do better. I'm going to take these out so I'm not tempted to come back thinking I haven't done them. So on top of having a house full of guests and taking a long hike in the wilderness area and making amazing meals night after night with my friends and my mom and my husband, and eco-dine. We did a botanical eco-dine workshop together. We wrote music and sang songs, and on top of all that, it was about 100 degrees. And my memory of the Human Animal Project as a fever dream is that every time I tried to sit down and write on my laptop, my arms were stuck to the varnish of the desk. I couldn't move them without just peeling the skin off of the varnish. The human animal craves transformation. The human animal is a contradiction in terms. That goth kid dressed as if for Dia de los Muertos, blackening her sockets before she boards her cheerful yellow bus. An anchor man who gets so many facial tucks they can't help grinning whenever speaking of disaster. It's mostly youth or gold thereafter, Ponce de Leon and his elusive fountain, all the top 1% of all 1% of octogenarians Googling monkey gland transplant, stem cell boosters, new drugs stave off memory loss while draining your life savings. Pursuing immortality, Emperor Qin Shi Huang poisoned himself with the mercury cure. Whatever you do, don't tell that magic djinn, I wish to live forever. Without specifying, do you mean centuries of shriveling and aching, aging without ceasing? Speak your desires with precision. Speak your desires with precision, I beg you. It seems the closest the human animal actually gets is ritual, donning indigenous masks of sisal, turtle shells, weasel and wings, dancers shifting into wolves, and salmon shamans into ravens. Weren't you there with me at the heart of the beast, the theater in Minneapolis, heart of the beast, when the actors turned into water, while others slowly stilted through the flickering scene in gowns of phosphorescent krill? A dozen more held aloft the corners of a keening whale, 100 feet long, which dove and swam and moaned, swam away in darkness, while one by one the human animals assembled there were stunned, undone by wonder. So when I go out to the Yellow Dog Plains, where I was in my creative retreat, I do a 1 or 2 month retreat on Northern Marquette County every year. I read a lot of science and get very gloomy about the state of the human animal. So I was reading some material from E.O. Wilson, and so the epigraph for this book is, for this poem is, planet Earth will enter a new era of its history, cheerfully called by some the Anthropocene, a time for and about our one species alone. I prefer to call it the Eramocene, the age of loneliness. So even if the human animal survives the Anthropocene, and here it is unclear what survival means, we will be lonely and largely alone, having watched the other species going extinct while knowing the how and why of it, decades dithered away in game theory and indecision. No coffee beans, honey. We're left with Wordle and Quirtle and Scrabble, a box of Monopoly with the money missing, a century of yellowing crossword puzzles done in blue ballpoint. But what's a synonym for short-sighted? What's a 4-letter word for that friendly, flightless bird we clubbed into extinction? What were those nut trees? Your grandmother folded their nut meats into cookies, the ones we cut down for a better view of the lake, or cleared to plant more corn, where passenger pigeons flocked in such great numbers, some trees exploded under their weight. Sorry, we're out of milk and honey. Far out over the lake looms that brewing storm, the great loneliness. Hard to believe it will happen somewhere in Michigan. Last whitefish, last moose, last pollinator, last spruce. The human animal keeps forgetting. White and black spruce indistinguishable. 2 greens. Can't tell one endangered warbler from the next, nor pillow basalt from granitic erratic, banded iron from gneiss. Even the youngest one among them discerns Coke from Pepsi, blindfolded, dominoes from jets. But ask them sometime how salt may be gathered, how a light bulb works, whether the sun rotates around the earth, and do potatoes grow on trees? You'll see. It can't explain a compass, how freezers freeze, the recipe for cement or bread, how toilet bowls refill with water. Dunno, they say, magic. Don't think about it, don't care, couldn't tell you honestly, who gives a rat's ass? One human animal will say it hires other human animals to worry about shit like that. We'll tell you, go ask Siri, go ask Google, write down your question and stick it in the human animal suggestion box, or submit your question in writing in advance, and it may be answered in the public meeting if it is pertinent and if time permits. That was for my friend Christy. So I was writing this in a cabin of my father-in-law's, who has taken in, it's a zoo for taxidermy, I like to say it. He never wanted any taxidermied animals that were going to be thrown away to be lost, so he would accept donations from many people and save them. He never hunted, so the cabin is full of animals. This is unloved taxidermied beasts. I loved a human animal who loved the animal trophies other animals were discarding. Chinese wolf pelts flank our chimney, their small black ears gnawed off by squirrels. Black bear feet, turtle shells, a fat coiled pine snake cast in plaster. Hung salon-style stacked rafters, glassy-eyed trophy bucks, and a mounted bison head transmit the word vigilance. Under the bed, I warn visitors, a polar bear lost its claws, but not its head. There's a yellowing hide sealed with mothballs in a bin, a wolf head forced into a snarl so fierce it scares itself, and inexplicable scraps of zebra pelt. Delicate water birds molt feathers and gather dust. Gazelle, mule deer, antelope, moose, a wall of horns, a heap of hooves, some skulls and larger bones. We tend this herd of unloved taxidermy beasts reclaimed, still animal enough to rewild dreams. So I relied a lot, I just, as I said, the human animal is a piece of work. You know, I really struggle to think about the human animal. I have kind of intentionally been trying to write about everything but the human animal for a long time. And then the human animal intrudes into everything I'm trying to focus on. So it gets very emotional thinking about it and writing about it. I found this to be a very emotional project. Not just that I was like trying to crank out poetry in short periods of time, but also, you know, the issues that it was bringing up. And I relied on conversations with the friends who were out there and my mom. And so if you're listening, I'm sure you'll hear little bits of things we were discussing, appearing in these. So this one is for my friends. Wouldn't you agree the human animal is moody? In the teeth of global weirding, we can't decide which side of the teeter-totter we ought to ride. Weren't we optimists yesterday? Didn't we join the Resiliency Book Club and buy a Prius? For a week after the shipwreck, we climbed to the Anthropocene, that listing tanker, then launched ourselves in hopeful lifeboats into spreading crude. What's to be done, we asked the seabirds, but they can't say. Everything's sticky with decisions we oughta and didn't make. Blobs of kelp and sea otters, everything oiled and knotted up together and too heavy to budge. Like that giant mildewed ball of twine saved by a farmer who couldn't save his family farm. Remember your grandmother's purse of embroidery floss, that lovely, brilliant mess. So flustered, it was impossible to say which silken thread might be tugged to fix the situation. Disastrous rainbows lurk in every puddle. No one has the answer. No one can find the scissors or the tweezers or the toolbox or secure the stopgap funding, so we suffer, we squabble and kvetch. We get up, down, hot, cold, moody on each other and run the air conditioning on high. And isn't the hurricane season coming sooner? Aren't the songbirds fewer? Wasn't that another historic flood stage record? We stuff our feelings into sandbags in the nick of time. Each storm surge sends fecundities of plastic bags and seeds and sewage through our living rooms. This is a little teensy one. The human animal is microdosing. Either that's smoke from the Canadian wildfires, or all the bridges we've crossed can be seen burning in the distance. All the paths we've walked and the past, even the very recent past, it is essentially irretrievable to us, isn't it? There are no maps where we are going now, only a VCR deck with a busted rewind button, only dusk. Lace up your boots. Bitter medicine, but that's the prescription we were given, and we trust physicians more than politicians. Familiarizing ourselves, microdosing ourselves with loss, so we might better tolerate a shot of absinthe, arsenic stirred into oil, Earl Grey, another kindergarten shooting on the way. The human animal has a cover-up tattoo. The human animal is a wolf in sheep's clothing, a sharp-eyed bargain hunter unwittingly consuming last season's fast fashion trends sewn by children, with buttons dangling perilous from unknotting strings and seams unraveling while they're being worn. Seams and buttons fall away as blood-gorged ticks, flimsy blouses opening without warning to show milk glass smooth chests or great mammalian breasts, and intimate tattoos never meant for viewing. Caesarean scars, blue mermaids, a cover-up tattoo in which tarot symbols on a bowerbird's nest obscure an ex's name. That's the magic of a girl drawing a third eye on her forehead, then willing it to see. Do I have time for one minute, my last?
Yeah.
Okay. So I ended sort of in a flurry, heat and fast, and trying to figure out how to make any files upload in the middle of nowhere to send them in time. And return to thinking about how I grew up as a human animal surrounded by animals on a farm. Do you recall, this is the human animal falls silent. Do you recall the dug trench where Tiresias poured a blood libation and muttered incantations to keep young silver breast-plated men safe in the morning's field of battle? Recall your own childhood. You knew by name the swaying cows with swollen, low-slung udders sprawled in sunny barnyards, cows returning to their stalls with smashed teats, their cream flowing crimson with blood. We are there again, shoulder to shoulder with our sister beasts. No sacred offering was provided, and the water tastes of iron. A whole page of species went extinct while this was being written. The storm howls your name, human animal. How will you respond?
Kathleen her prize. Marty?
Yeah. So on behalf of Peter White Public Library, Harvard Square Press, the Friends of Peter White Public Library, here's your prize.
Money.
Yeah, money. I know. Public don't get money that
often. Wow. Off to a great start. Thank you, Kathleen.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. One thing I'll tell you too about, that's fun about this contest is every year it's always different because we get submissions from all over the world. We got submissions as far as Australia this year, and we have a different judge every time. So there's always, if Beverly would have been the judge this year, we might have had 3 different winners. Who knows? So that's part of the beauty of this contest is it's a little bit of the roll of the dice, but it's the main thing is doing it. Just doing it. So let me share with you Sam Moe's Animal Heart. By the way, another beautiful cover made by the author. In her Animal Heart, Sam Moe often uses the most intricate poetic forms not to contain or constrain so much as to illuminate the edges of a wildness that we may see. In this way, carcasses of butterflies become heavier, knives lighter, love more starved. In Moe's poems, the part exists alongside and may even overcome the whole, like chewing tobacco in grandfather's mouth, like deer, tails, stairs, clearings, eastern cottontails on their backs in the sun, like the heart itself. Let's give a warm round of applause for Sam Moe.
Sam, are you there? Okay, there we go. All right.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you. My live stream is like a beat behind. I need to put something. It's really weird to see myself on Zoom on YouTube and then on my Zoom, so I'm gonna make that go away. Thank you so much. Endless gratitude to you, Rodney and Marty, for everything. I'm so beyond thrilled that Diane Seuss chose my chapbook as one of the winners. That is one of the coolest things that's ever happened to me. I've been reading her poetry since I was really young, and I used to really want to be a poet, and I had convinced myself I was going to be a psychology major, and a really kind mentor helped me to apply to MFA programs and inspired me to try to work to become a full-time writer. I'm not quite full-time yet, but this is the first year I've had a full-time job that's not waitressing, and so I got a 10-year earning creative writing position, and that actually granted me the resources and the privilege to be able to write more. So right when I got here, the contest opened, and I met my newfound family, and I was just really inspired by the community here in Alabama, and I actually wrote all these poems about them. I think maybe one is about my mom that I'll read, but yeah. So Congratulations also to Kathleen and Erica. I'm super excited to read your books and to be inspired by them. So the first piece I'll read is a double sestina. It used to be I was like, I'm a sestina poet in the way that Diane Seuss is a sonnet poet and Dorothy Chan is a sonnet poet. And I used to write tons of sestinas all the time, and they're so difficult. Let me write my time down, because I will literally yap until like the cows come home. It's my toxic trait. Okay, so this is Evening Eve Leaves, and this is inspired by the prompt about retelling the story of Eve. There are women at the tree of knowledge, big lace, sheer cloth, drinking late evening. Their dresses are amber, light blue, spotted and stitched with snake skin. Then there's you, sobbing at the woman-made altar. No one knows what love will break open whose body. You are not fit to carry knives. We saw you with the sun-scorched earth beneath, drawing patterns in the sand. Call forth your grandmother's rose. Fling your hums down the drain. No one can stand you, Eve. Wear the skin of the man, but you miss affection. Draining the wives, always women turned to pretty wet horses. Face catch hair. Might we have seen you? No. Women eat other women who have loved you, want adoration anyway. Rotten peach person, worthy, too many pins and needles in your dancing feet. A green king, you with a cameo heart, hater of golden delicious and lady ring the grave with termites, where the Son of God might sit. Shove all his aliases aside until he is many ribeyes. Peer into his delicious boy soul, drag him by his hair. Did you fight death like we did? Did you know Adam dies twice? Soon knives in the mouths of rosy pink oysters. God eats all pearls. Wives of wives assemble. Present the second death of the man. Glue around his skull where he'd attach a bony philo. Push lights into a circle for creatures to mourn. We celebrate, we wearing robes, dancing, crying, eating loaves of bread and tuna. Hear the way Eve screams as she ties snakes to balloon animals. Love her handiwork. Somehow she is the least appropriate of us all. Love the way her needle sews gemstones and peppers to necks. Lives lived are always so much more interesting when recounted. Sheer blue ice. Winter is blowing. Summer extinguished. Offerings, you bring your teeth. God is only going to be so impressed by drawings of her face. Don't be ridiculous. It hides beneath flowers. Fire is always the way a woman looks at other women. Too soon. Wire and dove feathers painted gold. Mary is born with cookies. Love is washed away once the story is told. The opera room is blue. Fling the awful garden out the window and draw the curtains. Foolish thing is the heart in evening, all emotional and winged, the too sour feeling of love, nothing beneath our dresses, not thorns, sheer jaws, twice baked in saint stew, don't know names of men, seers come next with antlers, jars of their blood, moths land, far too lazy to be considered good. Once again there is moon, bright highs on ricks, still Eve, having too much fun with snakeskin. Sting us in the heart. We never thought we'd make it to this day. Cone of magic, not quite funeral, but not yet celebration. Loop the light so it represents the sun. Call your mother if you can. The news might tell our story wrong, but when has anyone ever gotten death right? Then and again, we've told the truth, claimed fear, gnawed on steer meat and boy ghoul bones. This isn't a story about being holy. You mess up the pattern and suffer the consequences. Stitch knives into bell sleeves, poison ivy and dripping wisteria, yellow love and opal apples, jazz, pizzazz, envy at the gala, Honeycrisp, to love apples is to forget all about winter peaches. We remember sheer green eyes, sometimes jessamine, other days milkweed, drawing a blank on her name. And Eve asks how we sustain power, passion. Lighter days, our sunflower, little sparkling evening. She was funny, you are funnier. I break away to remind you I'm here. Lives lived appear as a kaleidoscope of tinsel, shark fins, bright knives of electricity from stingrays. The day we woke the robins, might I remind you there are serious health issues. Now you've been here, farewell. You're still distracted, boxing in the boxweeds. Loved Castor and Buckthorn before he poisoned your face with swings of fist, choke the ghost and make him drink pits. It's always you, Eve, only daughter allowed out of the show. Meanwhile, too many opera singers screaming, crocus lips, nightshade, stovetops, all the same stuck on the stage in the same old play. Fight God for me. If you ever see her again, tell our crush we feel mighty crushed beneath the weight of her laughter, her freckles, heard she's enchanting her own forest, obsessed with Dogbane, flame of our hearts. Heaven thinks love is hysterical. 4 o'clock wing from evening crow. Tell her we've named lakes after knives, consumed all the turtles in the sand, in love with weeds, love her foxglove earrings and holly-infused necklace. Horses too agile to be from hell, demons from the realm beyond. Might you deliver us, Eve? Tell the story the proper way. Be wary of anyone telling you to light knives and hide hives of bee fights. Deliver our message and we'll live on. Love you, precious you. Love that new green slip. Live on. Bring down the sea. Share core of shells. Here, take our hand. Tug us gracefully from the story written to men. That was really long. I actually started as a novelist first, and then I started writing poetry for years and years, and I think all my poems sound like little novels. I don't think that's a good thing. It's just happening without my control. So I'm gonna read the one poem about my. Is it in here? Yeah, the one poem about my mother. Just some like tooth surgery stuff going on, so I'm gonna read to her and put some weird energy towards New York City. We're very far apart right now. This is called 4E, and that's our apartment number. Don't dox me. Manhattan in the snow, mute and blue, overgrown trees line the streets, ribcage of yellow cabs, coated mushrooms and brush. There are so many smooth white pigeons on the stoop of her apartment. We enter, kick snow off our boots like the old days, knowing her ghost would be upset if we tracked slush on the still green carpet. The living room is all amber lighting and gold leaves, small satin pillows coated in dead butterfly carcasses. Bolivia Abuelita is gone, yet her apartment remains. Old records and sleeves, glass elephants she brought from Ecuador. The kitchen is filled with a new species of sunflowers. Lovely and pink, tinged with red in the center, changing to reflect the new shade of sun, the sky, ruby red, flecked with orange. Beneath the table is Abuelito's ghost, playing tricks on us again in the hallway. Green photographs, laced with dust and a crusty centipede. There was never an elevator. Still the checkered floor. Yes to the doorbell. Mechanical chime making my heart leap into my throat at the sound. I am young again, waiting on you to come over. Eager, but the second you cross the threshold, I pretend I don't want to see you. Even back then, I learned love was best hidden. And later you decide I was better left alone. But here we are, rubber boots searching for skeletons and gold tennis bracelets. If you're wondering, I found the funeral cards. Christ, somewhat glossy. Yes, covered in some snow and ash. There's a statue of Mary on the dresser. Beyond, we can see the 24-hour bodega where they sell bright blue bread, the same color as her robes. Could she have predicted all this if we asked? Those days we prayed for each other. We loved the family when dinner became complicated. Saying goodbye wasn't yet the hardest thing we did. So in true chaos form, I wrote a bunch of poems about imaginary parties that I went to with my colleagues. They don't read my writing, so it's fine, I assume. This is Red Halcyon. Holiday party, light gold couches, curtains the exact color scheme, making me think California. You're here again, all honey and harvest, golden as a puppy, but not too excited to see me. Nursing your drink and talking to someone about the history of wonder. She has glasses whose rims are the color of your eyes. I want to eat the top eye from your neck. Could see your blazer on the floor. We could make fun of the coast. We could drink sunflower liqueur and boast about knowing each other's worst secrets. Instead, I hide. I stuff my face, flirt with someone named Eliza or maybe Lizzie, named after her favorite literary heroine or maybe my favorite cartoon character. I'm too busy stuffing bread into my mouth, nodding adamantly. I will eat this strawberry before I look at you. I will place 20 blueberries between my 20 teeth, or however many teeth are in the human body. My mind won't count bones, can't wait to form a new home. So soon comes a crush. If I weren't eating my fingers, I would be all instinct and no fear. Most charming person at the party. Glowing as I toy with the pin on your lapel. We both discussed the novel about divorce and magic, how the wife wanted whipped cream that tasted like sea foam and lobster claws, how the husband would have sacrificed his body and his medieval sword collection to make her smile. We could be wives or husbands, only wore this suit because I know you love it. You're obsessed with X's and hexes, coyotes and coffee creamer, perfectly spelling your middle name. Soon it's champagne toast, cheek flush, jasmine earrings, and the host is wearing a slip. We celebrate the season. We toast to your writing. Your flute beats mine. It's not yet time to confess. You haunt my every poem. Your shadow has laced its limbs into stories, dreams. Orange is for distraction. Everyone wonders if we're flirting, so I start arguing with you. Would rather eat my own tongue and then some than admit my heart combusts into straw, pale magical oyster mussel, cracked hazelnut, maybe even a sand dollar. You'll always love buttermilk, amber wood. You invite me to the liquor room. Everyone is onto their fourth toast when I take my life in my hands and your buttons in my fist. So this is a poem about birds and what I assume the birds are thinking is kind of dark, because I think birds have dark thoughts. It's called season bonding. Stop, the sun is coming. Do you ever trust hands to hold you? Eat the confetti, spin, acorn, bed. The day is ash. There are so many ways to say green. Do we tell them about infatuation? How to teach a human about love? How should we care? Why the never-ending sea? When the cove meets the rocks, stay. This stick is to write notes in the sand. This breakfast is to discuss the break before the breakup. High heels, orange paint. Saturday is summertime all over again. There is laughter and there is naturally grown tomato, unbothered, rolling around the mouth of a wolf like a candy or a human drug. Every version of an animal is perfect. Every time I sing, I turn red. Winter won't find us here. Am I creating the circumstances for love? It is not necessary to touch lone needles, to sit on hot roofs, just eat leftover seeds. No, not today. I've had tea for the first time. My instinct is always to leave. Maybe this time we'll stay. You're here too, under the soft humming oak. Willow trees have wilting spiders, plants drink from the lake, and the algae forms a living, breathing network. Don't disturb the surface. Don't go near the ducks. Swans, sweet and transforming into girls. The girls run through the fields in white dresses. There is no presence of threat. The myth has died. The color blue no longer means death. The grip of a man can't happen here. Violence is when my mouth is broken. Back to the girls, young women, all safe and barefoot in the crooked forest, stomachs full of pomegranate seeds. Did you know I will eat every fruit? I miss Manhattan pretzel. I too will become a young girl, free. Will you come with me? This existence is bliss. There is no hurt. Tomorrow I won't exist. I might have lost in my own Word document. Gosh. All right, I got it. This is the Saint Fruit and Tall Grass. My family is super religious, and I'm coming back to religious studies and trying to talk to my ancestors as a third generation Ecuadorian poet and prose writer. So it's been really illuminating to be at a school again and to do research. So a lot of these poems are inspired by stories about Mary, specifically different sects of Catholicism. So Mary, blue day, love and deep soft pine, been brought to this cold field before, when stuck in dreams, always this is a story of hands. Whose? Holds, tore my face from its bone and then stitched anew. Lucky Tuesday. The saints have left before and they'll leave again. Their soft salt-bitten robes, flecked with sea, stalk more often than not, sing when sun reveals its complicated shape. No one saves me before the needles and the flesh. The time I poked a cavity with a singer leather, and sure, who knows pain, but these hands, halos, bumpy and scarred, my ex told me, lowered legs into tall seed grass, said he'd forgive me for the violence of others if I worshipped. Core of my body was sulfur, demon, non-God. Still, time passes. This isn't Mary for worshipers. This is blue river snake in low-fed grass. This is a separation of soul from ignored body. It might be unmade dreaming. Even love has stopped speaking to me. Saints pour dazzling healing liquids over my body, and I beg to be protected again and again. Body is yours. Okay, I'm almost out of time. I'm gonna read one more piece. By the way, I don't think y'all are clapping, but if you are, I'm sorry if I'm interrupting you. Not to be hubristic, I just can't hear anything, and I'm really allergy right now, which is why I'm touching my face in a weird way. Kind of worried my friend got poison ivy, and I'm worried I got poison ivy. Fun fact, sorry, I'm really awkward. This last poem is called Castle, and I'm really into this new style where I'm numbering stanzas, which is total novelty thing to do. So, but it's not too long. 1. Soon, chilled glasses, everything teal, mother's plum cookies, bright purple frosting, too much sugar for the daughter, dogwoods, little cats, pin oaks, newly sanded porch, the crush to end the season, a bed where rabbits sleep, a nook where daughters hide. The table is made of iron. The feelings are so strong they are harvested and baked into cakes for the guests. 2. Velvet green extinction, then bark, pitch black pines, berries, aster, all lilac in the sun, each center ruffled, each time the crepe nettles grow there, pink, tall, calm, in love with the public, twists and shoots, laugh, joke, Christmas cactus, all jagged and tickled by the sun. Madness leads into flower beds, petals reminiscent of eyes, everything sharp, no longer dangerous. Every cattail arrives at the edge of the lawn and waits. 3. The pair feel huevos mollos on the outskirts of the party. Even sitting by the old oak feels too much like the corazon, all bloody and ready to be sliced on the chopping block. When they are alone, she fetches the knives, soup cubes, says so long, and sobs over 2 amber onions. These vegetables are placed in an outline around the body of the daughter. Everything is laughter. The backyard has a good view of the fireworks. The crush wears 4 necklaces with dangling pendants stamped with Latin: Camellia, Dianthus, Caryophyllus, Chrysanthemum, Morifolium. It's becoming difficult to keep track of her heartbeats. 4. And soon the crabs leave the sea for a taste of apples, white and green, extraordinary bursts of pale and red, friendly claws, notches in the shell from bites. Every sea creature follows a captain, and all the captains are in love with clownfish. The Dungeness and snow crabs can be sliced into eighths but never broken. Their blue lilac claws snap tendons. They too gather in the yard, eating confetti, grieving salt water, slowly forming stitches of ivy and clover. The dog watches, wishing it had a human heart, forgets immediately, gnaws on a stray flesh-eating lobster. Thank you so much for listening to me. And
Sam, if you couldn't hear them, they were clapping very loudly.
oh my God, I wasn't talking over people clapping. That's so embarrassing. I appreciate you all so much, though. Sorry about that.
Sam, wonderful reading. Thank you again so much. And congratulations on your full-time creative writing appointment. That's wonderful to support your work as well. I noticed that you were reading in front of a painting, and I know you also did the cover of your book. Can you tell our audience anywhere they could, if they want to either read more of your work besides the chapbook or find more of your art, where they could do that?
Yeah, I just made a website and I'm still fixing it, but it would be my full name, which is on all my social media handles, and it's Sam Ann Mo. So I publish under Sam Mo, and then Ann is ANNE. And this, one of the coolest parts of the tenure earning job is the support system I've gotten. And they got me a creative arts mentor, so I will actually start doing gallery showings again. So as soon as I start selling paintings, that'll be on my revised website. But this is inspired by The Bear on Hulu. I do a lot of gastronomy research in addition to environmental research, so it's inspired by this terrible show about yelling and cooking. And then this is a Steven Universe painting in my office. But my social media handles are all also Sam Anmo, so Instagram and X or Twitter, like hate Twitter. And then Facebook, I think, is Sammy Anmo, because that's my nickname. They're all nicknames. But yeah, they're all all the public areas where I sell paintings and books and share published work should be Sam Anmo. Thanks for asking. That's really, really kind of you.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks for sharing. It'll help us to be able to connect with you more. And we're so glad you could be here with us today. Thanks again for your lovely book. All right. We've come to the wonderful Lamprey by Erica Kielsgaard. By the way, as we jumped into doing this 3-day contest, we've just been learning different things as we go. So, full disclosure, like the first year we did it, we published the books. We didn't know how to do some things. For example, when people publish books, typically if there's a page that doesn't have writing on it, you usually won't have the page number on it. I didn't know how to take them off, so they're just on there. So we have blank pages that are numbered in some of our early books. One of the things which I was so glad, thanks to Erica, that we learned how to do is how to make a cover that wraps all the way around the book. So she had a certain vision in mind for this cover, which was beautiful, and I didn't know how to do that, so we had to figure that out, and I'm so glad we did, and it's been so nice to be able to learn a little something new and not have to learn everything all at once, so that's been great. Let me read this wonderful blurb for this book. Winner of the 2023 International 3-Day Poetry Chapbook Contest. I am proud to select Erica Kielsgaard's Lamprey as the winner of the 3-Day Chapbook Prize. Kielsgaard synthesizes branches of history, including oral history and ecology, to unpack the narrative of colonialism and its devastating impact on indigenous culture and the ecosystem of the Great Lakes region. Despite the compression of the chapbook form, Kielsgaard has thrilled and educated me. I will never forget the shocking image of lamprey pie served at Queen Elizabeth II's Diamond Jubilee, nor Lake Superior seen through the lamprey's 9 mysterious eyes. The lamprey as numinous metaphor and embodied reality functions as a sieve through which Kielsgaard has managed, in this sequence of brilliantly crafted, formally inventive poems, to decant the whole world. Diane Seuss, Pulitzer Prize winner and author of Frank Sonnets. Let's give a warm welcome to Erica Kielsgaard.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you so much, Ronnie, and to Marty, and to Diane Seuss, and also all of my thanks to Peter White Public Library, and all public libraries everywhere. They really are the heart of everything that I love. And to everyone here and far, it's amazing. I know I can't quite see you, but I can sense you. And also, this 3-day period of creation was really incredible, to have this kind of spirit of communal creation. So it's just so wonderful to have Sam here in the Zoom with me, and also Kathleen there on the ground. It felt really ceremonial for me, as much as a lot of it was in solitude as well, these kind of imagining these poetic forms for storytelling. So I want to begin with my epigraph, which is an excerpt from the Haudenosaunee Thanksgiving address. In full, it is incredibly comprehensive of so many diverse ecologies. So I hope to imagine my work as kind of a pause in this part of the address for storytelling that can address the fish life. So I'm just going to read the excerpt from that epigraph. And I did get my copies yesterday, so it's really surreal to hold this book. It's my first publication. I'm really excited and just so grateful to all of you. We turn our minds to all of the fish life in the water. They were instructed to cleanse and purify the water. We are grateful that they continue to do their duties and that we can still find pure water. So we send to the fish our greetings and our thanks. Now our minds are one. And another name for the Haudenosaunee Thanksgiving address is the words that come before all else. I'm going to read a couple poems from Lamprey, but I did, in the book, I have some sources listed here, and I just wanted to call attention the sources that I used in constructing these poems. And I just wanted to draw attention to the oral histories, in particular, some videos that I found on YouTube. Their titles are Sacred Waters, Trauma of the Erie Canal, and they sustain us, food sovereignty on the Onondaga Nation, and in particular, Angela Ferguson, who has worked to rematriate these ancestral seeds with braiding the sacred. We'll just give some sources there for the work. All right, so I'm going to read the first poem, and just checking my time. Okay, so Crassus and then Petra. Crassus wept over his dead pet, only to be bullied by Domitius, stoic even at the interments for each of his 3 brides. Over fish ponds, Caesars relished, slaves thrown to the lampreys, their names remain unknown to Rome's cruel inventions. Augustus's niece found fins and gills to pin hoops of gold. Spiracles star the space of a jaw, the Great Bear constellation. And the next one is a little long, and it's called Petromyzon marinus, which is the scientific Latin name for the lamprey in the Great Lakes region. Our inheritance of cyclical teeth, lest we miss lessons on loop, more chromosomes than we know when to change direction. Light is the separation of sight, bodies outscale in darkness. Opt for pheromone antagonists, the smell of lamprey rot, the same mouth building nests out of rock, Yatsumi Unagi, a vampiric order rasping, the maritime uncanny. 9 eyes on Turtle Island, here far longer than any of us. As dorsal dark, so ventral light, dams don't last forever. Remarkably tenacious veterans of 4 extinction events reach the size of green beans and move stones. Lucullus channels mountains near Naples to let in the sea. The only difficulty would be to retract your hand in time. Purses empty into artificial ponds, each horseshoe-shaped hood. A lifetime and 18 kilograms of fish, no trophies to angle the catch. Every place you look, there's one hanging on. Harvest green beans, the general advice of fisheries. The quick red salmon jumps over the brown lamprey, a true Renaissance fish, served in Alexandrian gravy, kissing elephants down the river Ganga by their trunks. Welland Canal plans a 5th depth revision, a flight of logs. Lampoon the eyeless thick rock, metamorphoses of teeth. They don't want to be removed. Evolutionary continuity, crisis no one can crawfish out of. Great peacemaker paddled a stone canoe. This is sovereignty. A canal born as above, so below dentated tongue, most unwelcome, found in wounds, literally cold-blooded killers imagine the water from an indefinite position, the latest acoustic manipulation, guided generational decimation, a mere assemblage. Seneca lost 80,000 acres for national treasure. Eliminate, assimilate, eliminate, colonize. Funnels of war cast salt sheds into the roots. If not the lamprey, then blue-green algae blooms. Human monsters overfishing catch lambton worms from industrial mining, crude oil by rail and CAFO runoff, toxic wasting of the water in the big space fuck. Anadromous found the Great Lakes too noxious, even for them. Unchanged Scheherazades, 20 million to eradicate annually. 3-trifluoromethyl, 4-nitrophenol, what a mouthful. At the mercy of chemistry's wildest dreams warming, remember Gashwinda and learn new things daily. White eagles' jars of lost seeds, fortunes for carrying. They chant when they're ready, braiding the sacred return. Angela sings for bees through shared heart, another way. Know each other by smell, honey, one hive to the next. Of us transformers, the United States spent 1 million to remove Haudenosaunee, now a 7 billion industry. The worst part of a sea lamprey is its mouth. We are a part of lamprey, as lamprey are a part of us. The way trauma of the land originates religion. Jawless, the hook we are on together. Get this one back in its tank before we tell you more. I've got a couple more. Number 5209, named for the number of failed chemicals before lampricide, primitive sturgeons, the mud puppies, proven necessary casualties of lamprey warfare. To find the genitals, Freud dissected 400 eels by hand and drew their spinal nerve cells, leaf folded in petrified cocoon branches. Labs turned the water limit line, and children recognized the sound of pop rocks in place of cicadas. Okay, I'm gonna try a tongue twister. Since you're on Lake Superior, it's called Lake Superior. A lake is a lock, is a lock, is a lake, is a lake, is a lake, is a lake. A lake is a lock, is a lock, is a lake, is a lake, is a lake, is a lake. A lake is a lock, is a lock, is a lake, is a lake, is a lake, is a lake. A lake is a lock, is a lock, is a lake, is a lake, is a lake, is a lake. A lake is a lock, is a lock, is a lake, is a lake, is a lake, is a lake. A lake is a lock, is a lock, is a lake, is a lake, is a lake, is a lake. A lake is a lock, is a lock, is a lake, is a lake, is a lake, is a lake. A lake is a lock, is a lock, is a lake, is a lake, is a lake, is a lake. A lake is a lake to my 9 eyes. And I have one more for you. Litmus testing. Witness, sunset photograph. Witness, old grain elevator. Witness, proto-vertebrate. Witness, crawfish étouffée. Witness, plastic intestines. Witness, alarm cues attract. Witness, a living fossil. Witness, telephone fishing. Witness, puddles of orcas. Thank you so much for listening.
Sam, you back with us? Just wanted to make sure.
Sorry about that.
Oh, no, that's great. We're glad you're back. Wonderful job, Erica. Thank you again so much. I hope you heard the applause. If not, you felt the spirit coming from here of appreciation for all three. Let's one more time for Kathleen. I also want to, can you make this visual for me, Marty?
Yeah.
Can I be visual here? So, those of you on the live stream, I also want to tell you where you can get these books. So, we have A Brief Report on the Human Animal, Kathleen Heidemann's book, Animal Heart by Sam Moe, and Lamprey by Erica Kielsgaard. You can either get them in person today, but if you're just seeing this on the live stream, you can also order them through Harvard Square Press, and they should be available now on Amazon as well. So, real quick, Erica, thank you so much. I'm so glad you shared Lake Superior. For I think most folks don't know you here. We can certainly tell, though, that you have a musical background. Can you tell us anything about that? I know you're a musician as well. Is there a way people could get in touch with your music work? I know this is your first book, so.
Yeah, thank you. So I also just started a website. It was actually not just because it was almost a year ago because I was working with the trial. But So it's ericakilsgaard.org, and I kind of put all of my, like I don't like to choose, so all of like any sort of creativity that comes, whatever it manifests as, I like to put it there. But yeah, singing has been a large part of my life, as well as different kinds of instruments, and music, just the music of poetry. Before, poetry and music were separated, they were together.
Yeah, okay, wow, thank you so much. Yeah, one more time for these three. Yeah. So here's what's next, and I've already talked with Erica and Sam about this. Kathleen's going to set up at the back. Folks can come and purchase her book as well as Erica and Sam's books. But also we're going to leave this Zoom on right here. We'll take it off the screen if we can, but we're going to leave this Zoom on in case anybody would like to come and just meet Sam or Erica on the Zoom, be able to say anything you'd like, maybe ask them questions. They agreed they'll stay up here for a little while, so I'm just going to turn this over now, and feel free to come up and meet Sam or Erica, and also go back and chat with Kathleen. So thanks everybody for coming. Elliot, would you turn the lights on for us over here? Marty, is it okay for us to turn the lights on? Okay. $10 each. I'll put in the envelopes for the office. That's been really, I really enjoyed the reading today. It's fantastic. It was Okay. Okay, great. That sounds good. I'm going to put this
So you've been well. I've enjoyed seeing your poems.
and I'll keep this around the middle so I know I get
I'm a new poser myself. I'm just discovering.
great.
I see you're in there, but
Sewing machine.
I can't.
okay.
All my plans are
Yeah. Okay, well, hopefully she'll get back in, maybe keep an eye on things. Thank you, Erica.
I belong to the
I'll take one of each reading.
Okay, great. For one of each, let me see what I have here. So, well, if you do, because they're 10 each. So let me see, you got, let me see, here is,
Okay.
let me give you $10. Okay. I'll give you a 20. Oh, you want to give, what are you gonna, okay. So I got, let me see, you give me 20 and I give you 10 back, so let me take that, I put 20 in here, because I took 10 out of here, so I'll put this 10, and this, oops, sorry, and this one right here. I'm just trying to keep the money even for so cool, thank you so much, Lynn.
So then, but you wanna, I still owe you 10.
Oh, yeah, for Kathleen, Kathleen's here, and let me make sure I can give you 10 back there. There you go.
So there's that.
Cool. Great, thanks, Lynn. Hope you enjoy these books.
But it meets the first Wednesday of every month, right here in this room.
Okay.
It was like that.
6:30. Yeah.
I left the 20 there earlier.
We're not.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Was there one in the middle?
It was one that
Oh, okay, so probably, this might be it, or one, when I got it divided up.
Yes, happy live stream.